Hey, friends, and welcome back to our Simple Sales Strategy series. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, and this is the Creative Shop Talk podcast. So, we are talking about marketing strategy, and I had the question last week about what's the difference between strategy and tactics? And I'm going to explain that a little tiny bit because what our goal is here is to have you become better known, have customers know who you are, have like everybody in your community know who you are, get the chatter going, grow your audience in that way. And by audience, I mean who knows you and who's following and who's lurking out there that kind of knows you. And we want to pull them in tighter so that we can meet our goals. We can get them to come in the store and buy your beautiful things and you can love on them and have the opportunity to do that and have them fall in love with your products, your services, your people, and the things that you do, and have them come back again and again. That is marketing. That is the strategy. We are going to put strategy, which is being intentional around each piece of that journey, of your customer's marketing journey. And we're going to do it with integrity and with heart. And we're going to do it that feels good to you. The difference between strategy and tactics is just that. By putting all those pieces in place, we're calling that the strategy. The tactics are how we're going to do it, whether that's, standing out in the street corner, waving our arms, that's a tactic. Whether it's being on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, those are tactics. Those are things that we're doing, but the strategy is going to be unique to you. And how I do my strategy, or Susie does hers, or the retailer down the road does their strategy, and then matching the tactics on how they're going to do that. That's the difference. And that's what's going to make you stand out. And we're going to do it so it makes you feel good and you get the right attention from the right customers into your store. So when we talk about marketing strategy and sales strategy, I don't want you to think it's like, sell all the things and get all the people and all that. I got that voice back again, guys. Sorry. It is about being authentic, but also being super intentional about moving those people from like not knowing you, to being curious about you, to engaging with you, to coming into your shop or onto your website or into your e-commerce store, and then buying some things from you and then coming back again and again. That is what we want. That is why we are here. And we're going to do this in a way, and this whole series is meant to create a marketing strategy that works well for your customers' needs, because it's about them, but also for you, right? If we figure this out now and we start paying attention to this, it's going to make your day more profitable. It's going to make your day more fun, and it's going to make your paycheck bigger. And that's important. We have to be supporting our lifestyle. We have to be supporting our business goals, which are usually tied to our lifestyle goals. And we have to keep having fun. We have to make this have fun. We don't need to be buried and stressed out in these businesses that we are running, these beautiful retail businesses. You are important to your family, and to your what you're doing is important to you, your family, and your community. I keep saying we sell more than stuff, right? We're doing big things in our communities. So last week we talked about audience building. Today I am going to be sharing the next step. And once we've got all these people aware of us, the lurkers, how do we move them into curious? We're going to talk about that today. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business, with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. All right, so what matters once we have all these people who know who we are and we've built the audience, or we're building the audience. These things are always, we're always doing all of these pieces all the time. And last week I asked you to measure your audience. How many people are aware of you now? And we're going to take, you're going to take steps to go into that. And again, if you need more support around this, this is what we do inside the Inner Circle. This is what I do inside my Retailers Inner Circle, my private coaching group. And I would love for you to come in and we can chat there. If you aren't into group or you don't want to do this, I also work privately with clients as well. So, get some support around this if you want to leapfrog through this, if you want more ideas, or you want an amazing group of retailers to brainstorm your ideas with. But these are the things that we're doing, right? So this is what we're doing. We've built our audience and we've come up with lots of ideas of what we could do, and then lots of ideas of what we will do, the tactics, right? Now we have all these people. How do we get them into the store? How do we get foot traffic? So foot traffic is the next step. And it can be traffic to your website. And again, I always say measure these things separately, my friends. If you have an e-commerce site, that's a whole different marketing strategy and planning. A lot of it overlaps, but it is different than actually inviting humans to walk across the threshold and come in and open your door and come into your shop. They're different metrics. They're different things. So measure your foot traffic on your website. You can look and see how that goes. How much traffic do you need? And we're also going to talk about conversion. And that sounds like a cold word, but really conversion is how many people have we taken from browser, they've landed on our website, or they've walked in our door, to buyer. That's all that means. That's what a conversion is. And it's a statistic we need to know, or a number we need to know. A lot of retailers guess at this. And you know what? Everybody's conversion rate is different. I can't tell you what industry standards are. I could tell you in different places, it's different in different products. But if you're I want you to think about it, if you're in a mall or you're on a busy street with lots of, let's say, tourist traffic, or if you're out in the boonies and people have to drive out there and get out of the car and get into your shop, you're going to have different conversion rates. People that take attention to drive out to the country to go to an event or to a shop out, or a specific shop, usually convert higher because people have gone there for a reason. But if you have tons of foot traffic and lots of people who are like just popping their head in and going, yeah, you're not for me, and leaving, you're going to have a lower conversion, right? You're going to have 100 people walk in and only a couple people buy, or whatever that looks like for you. So that goes the same for your website. I just want a side note on this. Think about your website and know that the average traffic conversion from the number of people that hit a website to the buyer is 1% to 3%. You need a lot of people to hit your website to make a sale. Let's just say that. So, but we're going to concentrate on foot traffic. So what is your foot traffic? How do I measure that, Wendy? That's the first question I always get asked. How do we measure that? So we have taken this large audience and we are going to put intentional strategy to invite people in. So we're hopefully we've put things in place that have we've encouraged, maybe we've been sending them emails, we are doing social media, we are nurturing and engaging these people that are on our lists and are in our audience enough that they have reason to come in. We are planning events. This is the stuff that we do to get people in the door. And, as a retailer, this is why we have promotional calendars and we action our promotional calendars, holidays, events, all of the things. We put things in place. We put beautiful window displays up. We put signage. We do things. This is marketing. That's what part of your marketing is. Marketing is not just having a website, social media, and on Google Business. We need to do these other things. And I know you're doing them, but doing them with intention and with a promotional calendar to back you up is going to invite and bring these people in. It's also going to help you figure out how many people you need to come in, because you have goals and plans, and we need to know how many people are coming in, right? So here's how we count. We actually physically count people. It's like there are digital door counters, and you can buy those. I have some retailers that have great success with those. So you can buy those. They're not expensive. You can buy them. You can search on Amazon or any of those places, or your local. There's lots of different places that sell them. So yeah, just a digital customer count retail. If you Google that in Amazon, it'll pop up. And so there's different ones, and you can look and see what works for you. There's some that chime and some that count and some that, all of those things. Or you can just count. I have count lists. See what I did there? Now I have a lot of retailers that just count people. They take a period of time and they count. And does that sound annoying? It might, depending on your shop. It might not. We just have a little sticky note at the front counter and you just literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just count as people are coming in. Somebody, you make sure that you're all, and it's not a perfect system, but it is, neither is the digital counter. But it'll give you a benchmark. This is going to give you a number that you will know, okay, 1,000 people came in, or 80 people came in, or 12 people came in. This is just going to help us get a benchmark of what your foot traffic is. And we can keep doing it, or, that's what we are going to work towards. This is going to give us the gap, the numbers that we need, right? So just try it. Don't poo-poo me. I know you're poo-pooing me if you're thinking, but I know like you're rolling your eyes as you're listening to this maybe, but this is important if you know your foot traffic, and then look at your sales. So sometimes retailers will say to me, oh, I know what my sales are. My POS system tell me how many customers I had this week. That is not your foot traffic. That is that's the number of people that actually bought. That's the number of people that actually made purchases from you. But if 100 people came in and only 8 people bought from you, that's an 8% conversion rate. So we're going to want to work on that. And there's ways that we put marketing strategy around working on the conversion number. So it's not like, it's 100% of your sales was 8, that's not how it works. It's how many people came in the store, and of those people, how many purchased. And again, sometimes we make this seem like it's going to be crazy to try to figure out, but it's not necessarily that difficult. I have tons of clients who do this. They've done it a lot. It's easy. It's not rocket science. It's not perfect either. No system is perfect when it comes to this, but pay attention and understand, why are we converting? And we also, by the way, we also like to make up numbers. We all do this, right? Yeah, no, we're really good at converting. I'd say we convert 80, 90% of people. I think we convert 99% of the people. And then when we do the math, it's like really not. So this is where we have room for improvement, right? This is also, the opposite happens as well, by the way. Everybody's coming in, everybody's browsing, nobody's buying. And then when we do this, we're like, oh, well, you know what? We have a pretty good conversion rate right now. There's always room for improvement. We can always build a better business, right? We can always grow. So take this one baby step at a time. And this is your action step for today in our Simple Sales Strategy series. I want you to start counting your customers, or think about counting your customers, your footfall, the foot traffic into your store over a period of time, and also the conversion. So the conversion is the number of sales. You'll be able to pull that from your POS system on any given day. But the actual footfall, or the foot traffic coming into your shop, is something you're going to have to manually do, or use the counter to do that as well too, but still paying attention. So what's your number? What's your number? And I want you to think about what would happen if you increased your foot traffic by 5 people a day, or 5 people a month, or whatever works out to. Like, just thinking about increasing just by a few people, and do a little math around that. What would that look like? And how do you do the math? You look at your average order value and you figure it out that way, right? And then the other number is conversion. Well, if we had 10 people, for every 10 people, every 100 people that come in, we're converting 5. Well, what if we convert 6? What if we convert 8? What if we convert 9? Just percentage wise. Playing with those numbers is really empowering to you to understand where you will want to move the levers, right? Where you're going to want to push the gas, where you're going to oomph up your marketing. And how do we market? And some little strategy around that. And again, we deep dive into this in my programs, but I do want you to understand this, how we market to that inside. So the foot traffic side of it, again, it's inviting people in, it's promotional calendar. We can do things. We have complete control over doing things over our shop. Maybe it's even inventory changes. There's things we can do to increase our foot traffic if we're being intentional. And there's definitely things we can do to increase our conversion. Definitely, that there's so much around conversion, and conversion is being better salespeople. Maybe your team need to be better sales. It's offering bundles, and it's offering different, not incentives, but at the counter, having grab and goes. There's just all kinds of things that we can do to convert people sales conversations, signage, merchandising, lighting, all of the things that we can do. There's just so many. We can't possibly go over them all here on the podcast, but there's so many things. We are not helpless when it comes to just, again, hoping, oh, I hope people come in and I hope they buy. We have control over that. And this is where sometimes we just think we need to do more TikTok dances. Well, that's, I'm calling BS on that a little bit, because that's not, like, what is that getting you when it comes right down to it? So we want to fill all these holes, and we want to understand the flow of our customers and the things that we can do to nurture those people along that journey, right? How do we grow our audience? How do we have more people know about us? Then how do we get them in the door? How do we get that foot traffic in the door? And then how do we turn them from browsers to buyers and make them fall in love with our products? And there, again, so many ways. It's product knowledge. It's, how is your staff reacting? All of the things, right? There's just so many things that happen in store, customer facing, that we can do and we have control of to help our customers want to buy from us and want to shop with us. So there's so much we can do. And that's marketing. That's what we're working on. That's the strategy that we're going to put in place. And we're going to look and we're going to see where our gaps are. We might be really strong and have a huge audience. Everybody in town knows us. Like, we really do know everybody. Like, we have a strong email list. We have a strong social media following. And it's like, well, we're not getting them in the door. That's obviously where we need to focus our attention and our time. Or they're coming in the door, but nobody's buying. So now we have to figure out why. So, like, spending more time, again, on Instagram isn't going to help you. And I say this because maybe spending more time on Instagram is one of the strategies that is helping you. So I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying, for example, sometimes we spend our time, which we don't have a lot of, doing things that aren't serving us, aren't serving our customers, aren't serving our needs of filling our shop up with buyers. And, again, back to the profits, the paychecks, and the joy. And it's not fun because we kind of feel sometimes we get a little bogged down by that, right? So there's your assignments for the day. I promise to keep these quick. So your assignment today is count your foot traffic. And what is your number? Let's look at our foot traffic number. And the other number is your conversion number. From those purchases or foot traffic every day, you can do this over the next week, or, I would actually extend it a little bit longer. We'll do it over the next month. And then how many of those people are converting to buyers? And let's get some real numbers for you, some benchmark numbers. And then all we have to do is figure out, all you have to do is, it's really not rocket science. I like to make things simple. And then we just have to figure out what we need to do in the strategy. Where do we want to go? What's the gap we need to fill? And that's all we're going to do. Hopefully that's helpful to you today. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. If you found this helpful and you have thoughts around this, and reach out, DM with me. Is that what we say? No, we don't say that. What do the young kids say? I'm an old lady. No. DM me on Instagram, Wendy Batten Biz, if you'd like. If you're in my inner circle, of course, we'll continue the conversation inside the Retailer's Inner Circle. If you're not a Retailer's Inner Circle and you would love to be, it's just wendybatten.com/join and join us. Get going with this type of strategy and finding the people who can help you brainstorm around that. We have 2 open calls a month, and I'm in there all the time, and we have a great team. We have a community manager. Everything that you could possibly need in there for this marketing is inside that Retailer's Inner Circle, or just reach out to me. I also want to encourage you to share this with one fellow retailer, whether you call them and just explain this to them, because sometimes explaining things to other people helps us retain it. Well, actually, not sometimes. It's proven that works. So call a biz BFF, a retailer biz BFF, and explain this to them. And that will help them, and you'll feel good about it, and you'll understand it a little bit deeper. And, share the podcast with your friends. And I would appreciate that. We call that podcast currency. It's not always easy doing all the podcasts. We have a whole team around our podcast. So I would appreciate as podcast currency if you would share the podcast, at least with one podcast buddy, somebody who loves listening to podcasts, one fellow retailer. I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening here to us here on the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I love doing podcasts. I love sharing simple strategies for retailers. We have members or not members. Well, we have members from all over the world, but we have listeners from all over the world. So shout out to you wherever you're listening from. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll see you next week where we're going to continue our series. And next week's one, I think you're going to really love. So we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, my friends. See you next week. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you were here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.